So it's my day 41, 42, day 42. So to round up what I did on day 41 of my 100 days of making comics, where I'm spending a little bit of time every day to work on my little phosphor comic book over here. These are the roughings. I finished up the first 26 pages, so that's a whole issue number 1. And now I'm going to work on the rough dialogue. So yesterday, I was as I got started, I was saying I'm not going to focus on the dialogue boxes, but just get some dialogue out. But I found that there's so little dialogue, and it's so straightforward, what it could probably be for rough dialogue, that in the end, today, after coming up with some new scenes and some background ideas for what could be on these postcards or photos in the back, and who all these people might be that are sleeping here, and I counted about 9, and then there's beds over here as well. All these little things I had to think about, like looking at the panels a little closer, what the detail might be that is not quite filled in. I figured I should have it go with the dialogue boxes, which I figure would be a narrator who we meet a little bit later on. So I wrote a little something, and I'll just read it to you as I'll flick through these pages. So here goes. All right. Shift starts at 12-hour intervals for all until they hit dirt. That's when they get split in teams and work around the clock with as little as 6 hours of rest in between them. The bottom dwellers on any crawler we investigated are treated like machines. When they break down, they are patched up, traded, or replaced, depending on how much they own or are owned. We have not been allowed to inspect any of the lower decks. Thankfully, it took me days to get the dust out of my clothes when we had to hide downstairs during a raid. Apparently, the local taskmaster is not as charming as his assistant. No shock there, as above, so below. To rise to the top, we reward those who dream of corrupting their way to the pyramid's peak. And that's how we like them. As long as they keep the numbers coming in, nobody gives a damn on how quickly they burn out the crew. Oddly, I have yet to see anyone move in between decks when they think no one is watching. From what I've gleaned on camera, he does like to lord it over. Now, this should probably be on a different page. But for the most part, he keeps his language in his hands to himself. The lieutenant manager, so far, has been slow to show my colleague the ropes. I guess he can see what is coming and is trying to stall. The pilot and I don't get along. There's hardly any communication for me to take recordings of. So I guess I'll just grab a little video for this, so at least I'll have something to go along with this report. So that is up to page 6. I've just realized, even though that one paragraph where all of a sudden it dawned on me that that should be a little further down. Yeah, so that is kind of like the voice I might have to tweak the voice a little bit because he's more of a tech guy than some rough maintenance guy. But that's kind of the voice I've been ascribing to him and that I've been writing in to give you a little bit of a vibe, but to kind of, ease you into this world that you know nothing about, and also to give you a heads up of what it is that the two of them, who get to have their concluding talk at the end of the comic book about what they've discovered, so to speak, who are the two corporate spies, as I've been referring to give you kind of a heads up that they're new, that they're investigating. They do this all the time, but there's a little bit more going on here, and there's something a little bit different about some of the crew, and that is precisely why they're interested in researching this one. As we learn, the captain. I don't even know if that's going to be in this issue, like this part of this chapter. But as we will learn, like the captain is in big trouble, and so because he's in big trouble, he's willing to take big risks, and hide his track from this tech guy who's learning that there's quite a lot not working according to protocol. So yeah, that's kind of what I wrote today. That was about, I think I just sat here for about an hour to get this out correctly. Yesterday, like I said, like yesterday when I started writing, it was a lot of just pondering and a lot of looking at the pictures and getting a lot of ideas, because there's a lot of stuff where I'm imagining things to be in the background, but they're not. I mean, it's there, but it's not, you know. Like I figured in the next round of art, like the next round where I'm going to draw on a much bigger page, I'm going to, you know, get some fine detail in. I might have to put a little bit more thought in it so that things that will become a little bit more clear in the future can already be hinted at in background stuff over here. Like I even thought of a little board game that the kids could be playing that might hint at something that won't be revealed for much later, but like that has to do with one of the sci-fi cities in the, you know, background story of this world. So yeah, that's what's happening today. What also happened today, a little bit of sad news. When I came home, I knocked over my hard drive and flipped it off the table where it was standing, and it is no longer working. So that's only about 4 terabyte, including my fan edit. So this is not looking good. It's still working in the sense that it makes noise and there's a light come on, but it doesn't blink anymore like it used to. It doesn't show up anymore. So tomorrow one of my friends is coming over, and he's more into like fixing things. Like he's a proper IT guy. So hopefully he can help me out and might have a solution if it's not something really obvious. But yeah, I might be in real trouble here. So yeah. Talk to you tomorrow.